She's a diamond. She's a diamond girl. She's a diamond. Diamond, diamond, diamond.
Hi YouTube, it's Princess Diamond. Welcome back to my channel. So starting out, I'm going to show how to add braiding hair to a braid when you want to extend the length or give the braid more thickness. And I'm going to use a different color braiding hair just to make it easier to follow along. So starting out, I'm taking that orange braiding hair and I'm placing it right behind the braid. So when I place it right behind the braid, the second strand of the orange hair is going to match up with the third strand of the braid. And then that first strand of the orange hair is going to match up with the middle strand of the braid. And what I'm doing is just holding it in place, and then I'm just going to continue to braid it in by just braiding, continuing with doing the braid as normal. And this is how I typically will add in here when I want to thicken a braid or extend the braid to give it more length. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to show you guys again using the same color braiding hair. And just a quick note, you see how it's easier to tuck that orange color so that it's not seen. Adding in the braiding hair behind the braid makes it a lot easier to tuck it right away and continue tucking because the color is already being added in towards the back of the hair or braid rather than in the front of the hair. You kind of have to do a little bit more to hide that color right at the beginning or even going further down. So just a tip, because you'll see later on when I show you the two other ways to add hair that it doesn't completely hide the color right away, at least for me. I'm sure though if you continue to practice, you may be able to figure it out. So I'm just going to do it again. This time again, I'm just showing you guys how to do it using the same color hair. So let me run that back again. Alright, so this is the first way of how to add braiding hair to a braid if you want to extend the length or thicken the braid. Another tip I just want to throw in there for you guys is to make sure that the piece of braiding hair that you're added is not too big to the braid that you're adding it into, just so that way the braid does not become lumpy. If you see with that very first braid that I did, that piece, that orange piece that I added may have been a little bit too big because there was a lump right there. So to avoid that, if you notice a lump or anything that's messing up your braid, you may want to thin that section down. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys another way you can add braiding hair to a braid to extend the length or add thickness to the braid. And just like the first time, I'm going to start out with using a different color braiding hair to make it a little bit easier to follow along. So I'm going to place the strand of braiding hair on top of the braid rather than behind it. So starting out, that first strand matches up with the first strand of the braid. And the second strand of the orange hair is going to match up with the third strand of the braid. So it looks like this. So the middle strand doesn't have an orange piece onto it. It's going to go right on top of the braid. And then I'm going to start to braid, but I'm going to leave that first strand of the orange piece left out. And I'm going to continue to braid. And again, it's still being left out. I'm going to braid it again until it's back in my left hand. And then I'm going to take that orange piece and I'm going to place it on the right side. So on the right strand. So that is the piece that it's being matched up to. And then I'm just going to continue to now braid it in as normal. So you can see the orange hair and where I placed it because I added it in front of the braid. Like I was explaining before, it makes it a little bit more tricky to kind of tuck it right away. It doesn't matter if you're using the same color braiding hair, which I'm going to show you guys again using the same color braiding hair. Obviously, if it's the same color, then it will blend in so you won't see where it's being added. But if you're adding in a different color braiding hair to the braid, this is where you want to kind of just be careful and try to tuck it in right there at the beginning. It is possible, but I just wanted to show you guys that it is a little bit more tricky. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys the same method again, this time just using the same color braiding hair just to show how easier it is to match up. So again, I'm going to take the strand of braiding hair that I'll be adding to the braid, and this is now going to be placed on top. I'm just going to let you guys watch. So as you guys can see, with me using the same color braiding hair, the transition is pretty smooth. You can't really see or tell where the strand of hair was being added into the braid. So don't be afraid to use this method, especially if you are using the same color braiding hair to add to your braid. And now I'm going to show you guys the third way that you can add braiding hair to a braid when you want to add thickness or add length to your braid. And again, using a different color braiding hair to make it a little easier to follow along. So with this way, I'm also adding in the braiding hair on top of the braid, so not behind it. The first orange strand is matching up with the first piece of the braiding hair, and the second orange strand is now matching up with the second piece of the braiding hair. So as you can see, there's no orange piece on that third section on the right. So it's just going to match up with the first and the middle, the first two. So I'm going to hold it in place, and then I am going to continue to braid. Now with this one, I am going to twist backwards or downwards, I guess. Yes, twist it downwards as I'm braiding it in. So I'm twisting those two strands that I added in downwards. This is not just to hide the color, but this is also to have the braiding hair be added in seamlessly and not look bulky or bumpy when it's being added in this way. So that twisting part is important. So make sure to, do that in practice and make sure you are twisting it in. And then I just continue to braid it in as normal after I have twisted downward on those two strands. Same thing with this one, a little bit more trickier to hide the color right there at the start, but you can. I just wanted to show you guys so you can know it's just a little bit more trickier. So now I'm going to show you again using the same color braiding hair just to show you how seamless it can be if you're using the same color. So again, I'm adding it into the first and the second piece. Okay, those are the three ways that I have for adding in braiding hair to a braid to extend length and thicken it. And now I'm going to get into how to add in curls to a braid for doing boho braids. And just like before, I'm going to use a different color hair to hopefully make it easier to follow along. And then I'll do it again using the same color hair. So for the first way to add in curls to a braid, I'm going to add it in towards the back. Now with this way, you can see the short end is facing left and the long piece is what I'm holding, and then I'm adding it towards the back of the braid. The short piece is matching up with that middle strand. The long piece of the curly hair is matching up with the third strand. I'm going to take that long piece and I'm going to leave it out of the braid, and I will use a clip just to hold that in place so it doesn't get in the way. And then I just continue to braid as normal. So I'm braiding in the short piece and leaving out the long piece. And now I'm going to do it again, doing the exact same thing. This time I'm just using the same colored hair for the curly piece. But again, same exact method. So I'm just going to let you guys watch this time. So once I braid it all the way down, this is what it will look like. Now remember, the curly hair was being added from the back of the braid and then left out immediately. So the curls will stick out from behind the braid. Just keep that in mind. But continuing, I'm going to show you guys 2 more ways of how to add curls to the braid. Now for the second way to add a curly piece to a braid, I'm holding the curly hair the same way like I did the first time, and I'm actually adding it in the same way like I added it in the first time as well. So again, short piece is facing to the left and I'm holding the right piece. That short piece is again being matched up with the middle section, and the long piece, the piece on the right, is being matched up with the third section of the braiding hair. And this time I'm not going to leave that curly piece out. I'm going to match it up with the third section, and I'm just going to continue to braid it in as normal. So I'm braiding in both sections as normal. And then when I get the long piece on the right, then I'm going to take it out of the braid and leave it out, and then continue to braid as normal. So with this way, when I take the curly piece, that long piece, out of the braid, you can see that it's actually sticking out in the front of the braid instead of in the back of the braid. So again, I'll do it again using the same color braiding hair, or excuse me, the same color curly hair, and this time I'll just let you guys watch. So this is what it will look like. And again, since the piece was being left out on the front, the curls will stick out at the front of the braid rather than how the first braid was. The curls are sticking out from the back. These ones are sticking out from the front. All right, and so now for the third way on how to add the curly hair to the braid. This time I'm going to add it in directly to the front of the braid. I'm still holding it the same. The short end is being added to the first braiding hair strand, and now the long end, that second strand, is being added to the second braiding hair strand. So it's going to be added in the front and to the first 2 strands of the braid. So the third strand of the braid does not have a curly piece. And then I'm going to start the braid as normal, but instead of braiding in that long piece, I'm going to leave that sticking out, and I will hold that in place with a clip. And then I'm going to continue to braid as normal, braiding in that short piece. So with this way, again, that long piece, the piece that is going to be sticking out of the braid, it's actually sticking out of the braid towards the front of the braid rather than towards the back of the braid. So I just continue to braid that down, and then I'm going to show you guys with the same color curly hair and let you guys just watch. And this is what it looks like. And again, you see the curly pieces are sticking out from in front of the braids, rather than like how the very first braid was done where the curls were sticking out from behind the braid. I like these last two methods, the second and the third method, simply because I like how the curls stick out from in front of the braid, especially when I'm doing boho braids and going for a very full look, or going for a look where the curls stand out more than the braids. With the first way, which is how I used to do it, I found that it was much harder for me to get the look that I was going for. For the next section of this video, I'm going to show how to add in braiding hair to twists now when you're wanting to extend length or add thickness to your twists. Alright, so here's the braiding hair section that I will be adding it in. Twists are fairly easy. You're just going to lay it directly on top of the two strands that you already have for your twists. So since you only have two strands, it's not confusing on which strand matches up with which. You just lay it directly on top of the two strands. And once you have a good grip, then you're just going to continue to twist in that section, that piece of hair that you added with your twist as normal. With twist, you just want to make sure that the section that you're adding in is being added right at the top, and you have a good grip at the top with your fingers before you start to twist in. So I'll do it again, and this time I'm going to use the same color braiding hair. Notice with the twist, each individual strand is being twisted as I am twisting them together. And this is what it looks like for adding in hair to twists. And again, this is to add length to your twist or add thickness to your twist. And for the last section of this video, I'm now going to show how to add in curly hair pieces to twists. So like I was saying before, adding in pieces to twists is fairly easy, being that it's only two strands. So you're just going to say the same thing, match up your two strands with the two strands of twist that you already have going by laying it flat up against the twist, and then just continuing to twist it in. So for the curly hair pieces, you want to twist it in a couple times, and then you're going to leave out that long curly hair piece that you want to be sticking out. So you just want to make sure you twist it in a couple times. This is just to secure the curly hair piece so that it doesn't easily pull out of the twists. And now I'm going to let you guys watch me do it again with the same colored curly hair piece. And when you're working with blunt ends with curly hair, just use scissors to carefully snip away the blunt ends that tend to stick out of the twists. And this is what they look like. And then I'm going to show you guys how to add in the curls at the very ends when you want curly ends to your twists. I'm just showing you that you will probably want to use product for this this part, so I'm just using Shine and Jam. And this part is fairly simple as well, so using the same steps or the same way, you're just going to match up the two strands together And then you're just going to, again, continue to twist as normal. Make sure you're using your product, so your Shine and Jam, as you're twisting it. This is just going to keep those flyaways and blunt ends and braiding hair just, minimized and into the twist as much as possible. And also, obviously, before you add in the curly hair, make sure you don't add it too far down. Give it a little bit of space so that way you can twist it down enough. And right here, what I'm doing is I'm just borrowing a small piece of the longer end of the curly piece and putting it to the shorter end of the curly piece so that I can continue to twist further down, because I'm going to twist past the braiding hair, so that way at the ends there's no straight pieces sticking out, it's just the curly pieces. And then once I pass the braiding hair, I'm going to use a very small section of the curly piece, and I'm going to wrap that around the twist and then create a knot. And then I'm going to do that at least 3 times or 4 times. So when I wrap it around, you'll see a circle, and I just loop the end of that curly piece inside of that circle and pull it tight to create a knot, and I again repeat. So again, wrap it around, you see the circle, the piece goes inside of the circle, pull that piece tight right on top of the same knot, and repeat. So this is what it looks like, and then I'm going to do it again using the same color for the curly piece. You guys will see what this one looks like shortly, and I thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if there's any other ways of adding hair that you guys would like to see or learn, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to get a video out for you guys. But again, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope you guys be blessed, stay protected, and stay filled with love and peace.